Hi everyone, I'm Chris O'Neill from Sew the Distance. I'm so glad you're here and I cannot wait to share this project. This is holiday garland. Look at how cute! I'm sure you are familiar with like the paper looped garland. That's basically what this is, but we're going to be doing it with fabric. There are other tutorials out there where you leave an end open, or ends open I guess, and use Velcro to close it. I tried that last year. I didn't like it because it didn't flow like this one does. I don't know, it kind of got caught and wasn't my cup of tea. So I decided to come up with a way to do continuous. You can't take these apart, but the nice thing is you can't take these apart because they lay nice and I don't know, I like them better. Standard size garland is 8 feet, I think. I think that's what I read. To make a standard size garland, doing it the way I'm going to show you, you will need 32 loops. So you can tell this one is not quite finished, but adjust to the size you want. The loop sizes, they're hard to measure. It's like 3.5 inches, like this one, from here to here. So it's about 3.5 inches. So you can figure out how much you want. Like I said, I'm going to make 32. That's 1 yard of fabric to make a whole thing of garland, which I think is pretty darn cool. All right, let's talk about the supplies that you need. So of course you need fabric. I am using a tablecloth that I bought at a thrift store for like $2.99, and it was huge. I think 60 by 84, something like that. So I got a ton of fabric out of this. But if you don't want to do something like this, you can also use scraps too if you want to. You'll also need, I guess this is kind of optional, you'll need some fusible interfacing. I use Pellon, let me double check. Pellon 911 FF is what I like. It's a nice lightweight fusible. It's only fusible on one side, and I buy this by the bolt actually because I love it so much. I use it for a lot of things. You can use any or none at all if you don't want to. I do like this. It's not too heavy and it's not too light. It's just the perfect consistency. For this you need 2 yards because this is only 20 inches wide, where fabric yardage is of course around 42 to 44 inches wide. And what else? Okay, you also need parchment paper to protect your iron, and clips, and also, oh, a denim needle is always helpful in your machine because you are going through a lot of fabric, and then matching or coordinating thread with it. One thing about the fabric is I like to use something other than green if I'm going to put it on a tree, but you can use green if you want. To me, it blends in, so I don't like using green if I'm going to go through all this work. So I like something that's going to stand out, but you. Do what you want to do. It's sky's the limit, right? We can do whatever we want. So to prepare your fabric, if you're using 1 yard of fabric, you're going to cut 8 4.5 inch wide strips, so 4.5 inches by the width of fabric, and then subcut those strips into 4 10-inch strips. And that's going to give you these. Now for the interfacing, if you're going to use it, you're going to cut these the same exact way, except you're only going to get 2 for the width of fabric, and you're also going to cut the width to 9.5 inches, not 10, because, well, I'll show you. It'll make sense. All right, let's get started making these. So much fun. All right, here we go. So our first step is to lay the fabric right side down onto your pressing surface. Now this fabric, don't tell anyone, is a cotton poly blend. So it isn't 100% cotton. It stretches a little bit more than I am used to, but it still works. It still works, and I like the print. Next, we're going to take our fusible interfacing, if you're using it, and you're going to put the bumpy side or the glue side down. And we're going to lay that on there as best as possible. And I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch about on each end, and that's going to reduce the bulk where we're going to join it, which will make sense. I then take my parchment paper and lay that on top, and you can see this one is well loved, and press that on according to the manufacturer's instructions for your interfacing. And they're all different, so make sure you check that out. Next, you're going to take your rectangle and you're going to fold it in half, and you can see that my interfacing's over a little. That's okay, it's not a big deal. You can trim it off if you want, but I am going to use my parchment again because of that. So I'm just I should explain, right? I'm just folding it in half, hot dog style, as they say, just like that, and I'm going to press that crease in. Okay, once that's pressed, you can kind of see a line. If you want to, you can draw that line too if you want to. That works too. I'm just going to fold in one edge like that to the middle line that we just pressed. And I'm going to press that edge nice and crisp. Next, we're going to fold the other side in the same exact way and press right along that edge. You can use your parchment if you want. And then we fold both sides in and then fold it in half, just like that. And I'm going to give it a good press. I'm going to show that to you again because it's pretty important. You're going to have your right side of your fabric down, fold it in half first to get that center mark. Fold in one side, fold in the other side, and then fold it in half. And then we're going to clip. And I'm just going to clip right along that edge just to hold it in place for the time being. It's going to look like this. You're going to do this to all of your pieces, but if you want to just do a couple at a time just to get the hang of it, that's fine too. So let's do that. I'm going to get a few prepared, and then I'm going to move my machine over and show you how to sew them together. Okay, I'm at my Janome. Everything's all set up, and it's time to get started. I prepared like 5 or 6 of these just because I was so excited to get started that I wanted to get started. So we're going to take one of these and take off the clips and then open this up. And I know we just folded it. That's okay. We're going to match it up right sides together. So what I'm doing is I have it opened up. I'm folding it in half like this, and I'm matching up the ends. I'm just going to pin it here and here just to hold it till I can get it under the machine. And all we're going to do is sew a 1/4 inch, and you should have that 1/4 inch headspace already just along that edge. I'm going to do that now. Now I know on my machine this spot here on my walking foot is a 1/4 inch, and you don't need to use a walking foot. I'm using a walking foot for this because I'm going to use my flange foot for the next step. So instead of changing the incomplete foot, I use this. All right, now I have the camera right in front of me, which I think you can see here. So bear with me. You wouldn't have this, so it would be a little bit easier. I have a neutral thread in. I actually have a thread that matches this fabric. You can use a contrasting thread, but I like the way it blends. So you do whatever works for you. We're going to start sewing. And then you can backstitch if you want. This is going to get enclosed, so it's not a big deal. All right, I'm going to move the camera. So next, you got this weird looking thing. What I like to do is go in, and you can finger press or actually press that seam open. I'm just going to run my finger along there just to press it open. It's going to reduce the bulk some. And next, all we're doing is refolding, which is a little finicky, especially when this is coming off a little. That's okay. Didn't get that on real well. And this is for our first loop. After that, it gets a little finikier, but you can do it. I have faith in you. You can do it. All right, so I fold it in, and then I'm going to fold it back upon itself like we did in the beginning when it was clipped, like this. It just takes a little bit, but it works. Trust the process. All right, at this point, you can press it if you want to, but you really don't have to because you have a nice good presses in that. And then I like to clip it again just to hold it all nice and even. The next step is to top stitch around the edge, and I like to do both sides. So we're going to start with the side that's kind of, well, it's not kind of, it's open, and that's going to hold it nice and tight, and then I'll do the other side too. And then we'll add the next ones. I use the flange foot on my Janome. It has like this thing that runs along, and then I move my needle over. But you don't have to. You can just use the side of your foot and just go in a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to change this out and show you how I do it. And you know what, after I do this one or do a couple, I'll show you how to use your regular foot too, just because I know not everybody has this. So let's do this. Okay, so we have our loop ready to go, and we have the machine set up. I'm going to move my needle over. I'm also going to start at a low stitch length. So I'm going to turn this down here. Let me back up the camera a little so you can see. So I turn this down to like a 1 for the stitch length, just for a few stitches, just to get it started. And then I move it back up, and I'll move it up to probably a 3.8. I like a nice top stitch. So put this down to, I don't know, actually, yeah, we'll do a 1. So I don't want to start right on this hump because it can really mess things up. You'll get uneven stitches. So I'll start right in here. So the hump is here, or the seam, and I'll start like right in here. I put it under here, and I start stitching. So you can see that the stitches are tiny, and then I'm going to turn it up my stitch length and go around. Take your time. Once you get back to where you started, you can see that here. I'm going to clip that thread. I'm going to turn down my stitch length again, right in there, and try to line it up. Just like that. You can backstitch if you want, you can knot it, whatever you want. There we go. I did okay lining it up with a camera in my face. All right, now we're going to do the other side. So we have this nice beautiful top stitch, and we're just going to go around the other side and do the exact same thing. I like to start at the same spot. I'll speed up this video. I did much better at lining that one up. Trim off my threads. Now you're probably wondering, how do we get the second loop on, Chris? Let me show you. This is so cool. So we're going to just take our clips off of the second one, put this through the first loop, or the second or third, or whatever loop you're on, and line up those edges while it's inside of this loop. And I'm going to pin it. And it's finicky, but it works. So we're going to sew 1/4 inch down that side. All right, same thing. I'm going to press this or finger press it open, and then I'm going to refold. Just like we did before. Again, finicky, but it works. And top stitch it again. So I need to change out my foot again. And you could, if you wanted to, once you get into this and really understand how it's put together, you can just do a whole bunch of loops, like add another one, and then go through and top stitch all of them at once, because then you don't have to keep changing your foot if you want to. That really just depends if you have that 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, whatever, the flange foot. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stitch around this again. Same thing, starting with that small stitch. You're rolling it around just like you did before. So now you have 2. Now I have threads. I gotta clip those. Okay, I will. So you can make this in sections and then put the sections together. Where's my big long one? What'd I do with it? Let me grab it. Okay, so here's the one I started. So all I have to do is take one of these guys, put it through this and this, and do the exact same thing. So it looks like this. And then you can link it together. If you don't want to work with a big long piece, that works too. So let me show you that again on the overhead camera. So I have my big long piece here, and I have the 2 I just made. So I would just put this through. Let's take the clips off. That one, and I'd put it through this one too. Now the thing you want to make sure of is that you're not twisted, which I'm not. And then the same thing, I would just open this up all the way, pin it, sew it, and then sew around that loop. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to show you how to do that side stitch and everything with a regular foot. Let me set up the machine and I'll be right back. So I finger pressed that seam open, I refolded it. All right, so I'm just going to go in just a little bit. Actually, we're going to start right here. And I'm just going in a teeny bit on the edge, less than 1/4 inch, so right in here. And I'm just kind of trying to go straight. That flange definitely helps, but you absolutely can do that without the flange. And then do the other side, same thing. So you can see the stitches. And you just do the same thing. Just pick a spot and line it up and go from there. So that's it. It's coming together. I still have quite a few more to do, and I'm just gonna keep on working on it. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you take some time to sew, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.